Here at Weird World, we've covered many war mysteries, ranging from bizarre disappearances, strange ghost plane sightings, to Foo Fighters, just to mention a few. However, there was another major incident that shocked both military and civilians called the Battle of Los Angeles. This battle is a remarkable mystery that was witnessed by hundreds, if not thousands of people, both army personnel and civilians, and is one of the strangest UFO encounters from World War II that to this day cannot be explained, and no bombs were ever dropped. History will tell us that it was a case of paranoia after the attack on Pearl Harbour, believing the mainland could be hit at any time, so eyes were always peeled to the skies by both the civilians and the military. Today, let's explore this mysterious World War II case of the Battle of Los Angeles. Number 5. Mass panic. United States was sent into a panic after the Pearl Harbour attack, believing that attacks on the mainland could happen at any moment. Unsubstantial rumours of aircraft approaching New York City caused a stock market crash on December 9, 1941. Inexperienced pilots and radar men on the west coast mistook fishing boats, logs and whales for Japanese submarines and warships. On February 23, 1942, a Japanese submarine surfaced off the coast of Santa Barbara, California, and fired over a dozen artillery shells at a nearby oil field and refinery. The attack would only do minor damage, and there would be no casualties, but it did mark the first time that mainland United States was bombed during the Second World War. Number 4. Itchy trigger fingers. After the Japanese attack, the military started to get extremely nervous, resulting in one of the strangest home front incidents of the entire war the next day. It began on the evening of February 24, 1942, when units guarding the California coast were instructed by intelligence units to prepare for a potential attack from the Japanese. Things remained calm for a few hours, but just after 2 a.m. on February 25th, military radar pinged what appeared to be enemy contact around 120 miles west of the city of Los Angeles. Air raid sirens were set off and the town was put into a blackout. Troops were manning aircraft guns and scanned the skyline with searchlights. A short time later, at around 3 a.m, the first shot was fired, the first of many. There were reports of an unidentified object in the skies above the city, and the troops in Santa Monica fired upon it with their anti-aircraft guns and .50 caliber machine guns. It didn't take long for the other coastal defense weapons to get in on the action. The Los Angeles Times read about the event, saying that powerful searchlights from countless stations stabbed the sky with brilliant probing fingers, while anti-aircraft batteries dotted the heavens with beautiful, if sinister, orange bursts of shrapnel. The next few minutes were totally chaotic, and it looked as if the city was under attack, but most of the people who looked to the sky only saw the smoke and glare of the machine gun fire. The threat was clearly real for lots of people in the area though. It appears that mass hysteria had taken place, with numerous reports that Japanese aircraft were flying in formation and bombs were being dropped. It appears that people were looking at something in the sky, but they were not Japanese planes. A coastal artilleryman named Charles Patrick claimed in a letter that the enemy aircraft were barely visible, but they were definitely there. He claimed to see 6 planes with shells bursting around them, and that everyone in his unit cheered when the order came to join in the barrage. That barrage lasted for over an hour. By the time everything was said and done, the Los Angeles artillery batteries had fired over 1,400 rounds of ammunition into the sky. The puzzling discovery that there appeared to have been no enemy attack at all wasn't made until the light of day made things clear. The Western Defense Command of the Army released a statement saying Although reports were conflicting and every effort is made to ascertain the facts, it is clear that no bombs were dropped and no planes were shot down. So what were they firing at? Number 3. Friendly fire. Ironically enough, the only damage to come from the assault would be friendly fire. The shrapnel from the guns rained down on the city, smashing windows and tearing through buildings. A dud shot careened into a Long Beach golf course, and some residents had their homes partially destroyed by the 3-inch artillery shells. While the shootout didn't result in any significant casualties, there were reports that at least 5 people died as a result of cardiac arrests or car accidents during the extended blackout. The government and media outlets released contradictory reports as to what and why they were firing the artillery and shells. The Secretary of the Navy, Frank Knox, dismissed the whole thing, saying it was a false alarm caused by nerves. But Secretary of War Henry Stimson echoed the Army brass with a cover-up stating that at least 15 planes were in the sky that night. He even pushed the controversial theory that the planes in the sky had been commercial aircraft being flown by enemy agents to instill fear in the hearts of the people. He later backtracked on those claims, but thousands of people inside and outside of the Army claimed they witnessed a craft in the LA sky that night. An editorial from the New York Times said the eyewitness reported seeing a big floating object resembling a balloon, while others had seen anywhere between 1 and several dozen aircraft. It appears many witnesses had seen something in the skies over Los Angeles, and it appears that the military wanted to cover it up. Number 2. The shootout. So, what really caused the shootout that night in Los Angeles? The Japanese later claimed that they'd never sent aircraft over the city during the war. The Office of Air Force History outlined the events in 1983 as saying that meteorological balloons had been released prior to the incident to help determine the wind conditions. Lights from the silver balloons could have been what triggered the initial alerts. So we're now back to the weather balloon theory, which has always been the fallback excuse to many UFO sightings. Number 1. The real objects over Los Angeles. On February the 25th, 1942, a number of unidentified craft flew over the city and caused a blackout, where at 2:25 a.m. at least 1 million residents would wake up to the sound of air raid sirens and anti-aircraft guns to bring down what they assumed to be Japanese planes. But they were not Japanese planes. The Coast Guard and the US Navy got prepared for a possible attack where the Navy ships and Air Force were sent information that a single or multiple aircraft was heading for the coast. When the object became visible and was confirmed to not be a private or commercial aircraft, it became apparent that this craft was unlike anything they had seen before. It was huge and would silently hover. The Navy and Coast Guard got the go-ahead from the Secretary of the Navy, Frank Knox, to begin firing at the UFO in the sky around 3 a.m. on the morning of the 25th. From the beginning of the attack until the early morning until around 4:15 a.m, the military fired over 1,400 rounds of 12.8-pound anti-aircraft artillery at the UFO. The object kept moving from Santa Monica to Long Beach and seemed to have no damage done from the barrage of shells that were fired at it. There were thousands of witnesses, including very creditable reporters from every newspaper in the area that saw the UFO close up and personal. Later, when things calmed down, the US military reported that it must have been just a weather balloon. The extremely odd thing about that is all of the witnesses stated that it was clearly not a weather balloon, but a large circular object that was being manoeuvred in ways that no balloon or even aircraft of that time could have. Also, after firing 1,400 rounds of shells at the UFO, it continued to move along unscathed. So if the military couldn't have brought down a weather balloon, then they could never have won the war, or any other war for that matter. With all of the evidence in the Battle of Los Angeles case, it clearly points to nothing man-made either US or Japanese. With all of the witnesses that saw the UFO and the unbelievable amount of artillery fired at the object without even touching it, it's very clear that they were dealing with one of the first multiple person UFO sightings in the USA.